guys, Mrs. C here with Cycle 1, Week 10 ideas for introducing new grammar, and also going to throw in an idea for doing this week of 10 whistle, just an idea I came up with the little ones to make it a little easier for them, although you could do my idea in the other classes too. But we'll start off with geography. So for geography this week, we're over in Japan. It's so tiny to find any of the things over there. So I found these little guys in the party area over with the little gifts and favors and stuff. So I found little bags of these over there. So I got these to put on the ends of the kids' fingers. So when they point, they're taking their little monster's nose and touching the nose to the different spots on the map. So I just went through each location, had them point. I tried to do them not necessarily in order of the guide. I tried to do them in order that it's easiest to find locations. So I started with Tokyo, went down to Mount Fuji, went over to Kyoto, and then into the Sea of Japan. And then I ended with the Pacific Ocean and actually having them put both hands, one on the other side, one on one side and one on the other, because the Pacific Ocean's on both sides of our map. And then let them take their map and kind of bend it around and connect the two, and reminding them that the Earth is round, and so the Pacific Ocean isn't split in two and on two sides of the map, that it's that one ocean there. So we talked about that a little bit, but we just took our little guys. They're so cute on their little hands. I can't put it back on my hand like they can, but anyway, we just used these little guys to find all of our locations on our map. I said them, they repeated them, we found them a few times. For English, we're almost done with our prepositions, which I cannot believe. So we have through, so you're swimming through something, through. For throughout, you're going to do the same swimming motion, but when you bring it around, you're going to take your thumbs and go out, just like we did for out. So through, throughout, and then to, you're just going to, you're pointing to something, so you're going to point. And then toward, you're going to take a step toward what you're pointing to. Okay, so through, throughout, to, and toward. Okay, I have them doing it sit in their seat, so on toward I just had them lean forward on that. So if you need to be seated, if you don't have enough room for your class to all be up, you can do it that way. For science, I brought out my agility ladder again. We hadn't had that out in a while. If you don't know what an agility ladder is, it's basically some plastic rungs that are hooked together with a flat cord, kind of like what they use on backpacks and diaper bags that you can tighten and loosen that area with. And it's just connected together so it folds up, or then you can lay it out. So I just lay it on the ground. If you don't have an agility ladder, you can do the same thing with painter's tape. It just gives them something to kind of jump over and a space to hop into. So we got the agility ladder out, they jumped, and I just repeated the types of leaf shapes. We weren't doing a ton of movement today, so I wanted to add in a little bit of movement. If you want to do hand motions, I had come up with hand motions. So we had linear, so like a line, oval, so you're kind of making your hands, that's kind of what an oval leaf shape looks like. Oval, lobed, like your earlobe, cleft, because it's split, scale-like, I kind of felt, or skin. You could do a snake, or a snake too if you wanted to. I just did scale-like because our skin isn't scaly. I don't know, mine's a little dry. And then needle-like, I pretended like I was getting a shot and stuck it in my arm. So, so linear, oval, lobed, cleft, scale-like, and needle-like. Okay. For Latin, I did the same thing that I did last week. So we just did kind of not quite head, shoulder, knees, and toes, but head, shoulders, hips, knees, and toes. And so we just sang us, ui, o, and touched all of those parts, and then stood up, us, ui, o, kind of that thing. So we went through and did that. Again, if you're tutoring, you're singing it 3 times, each section of the noun ending. So you're singing it through 3 times, so you really only have to do it twice to get close to your 7, but it goes fast, so you can do it multiple times. You don't have to do the entire chant 7 times, because then you'd be doing it 21 times, which, hey, if you want to be an overachiever, you go for it. Okay, for history, I think I will need to stand up to show these to you. Oh, sorry if I bumped the table. So for history, we have the Heian or Heian, depending on if you're listening to timeline or a history sentence, period. So around, this is the ASL sign for around 794. Japan, just like we sign in our timeline, Japan's emperors, and just again, like a timeline, we're going to make an E, just like this, and we're going to go from shoulder to hip. Move to Heian, so we're making an H for Heian, which is present day Kyoto. So this is, okay, so Heian and Kyoto, okay? The Heian, so we're going to take our H and go down our arm. So this is like the sign, a sign for time, ended in the 12th century, so we're going to make it 12, when Civil War, just like the motions we do for our timeline wars, gave control to military, so we're going to salute. And then commanders, I almost didn't do a sign, but they hold out commanders, so you're going to kind of tap your shoulder, like if you think about the shoulder things that military leaders have, or all of their medals, you know. So this is the sign for commander, called shogun. So shoguns use swords, so we're just going to pull our sword out from our sheath. There is no official ASL sign for shoguns. So we're just going to pull our sword out, okay? In a feudal system, so the sign for the feudal system, just like when we do the Heian period in the timeline, we're going to show the different levels of people that there were in the feudal system. So in a feudal system where knights called samurai, so for the whole phrase knights called samurai, we're going to put one hand behind our back, one hand in front, and bend down like we're a knight showing our allegiance to our Lord. And it works if you kind of do it slow for the knights called samurai, because it's kind of said fast. Protected, this is the official sign for protected. It goes like this. But because you're like this, I just brought it up like this, like I was holding a shield on my arm. So protected, wealthy, this is money, wealthy landowners, okay? So around 794, Japan's emperors moved to Heian, present-day Kyoto. The Heian period ended in the 12th century when civil war gave control to military commanders called shoguns. In a feudal system where knights called samurai protected wealthy landowners. Okay, so that's what we did for today. There's lots of different ways that you could do that. We just listened and sang through it today. For math, I didn't actually do anything today because if you can't tell, we dressed up today. We had costume day, and my boys had their costumes on, and they're those kinds that like pull on and button in the back, and both of my boys had to go potty during math. So I was gone during math. My parents stepped in. Thank you guys so much. And so my kids just ended up listening to the math song like 3 or 4 times while I was out of the room. I had planned to have them jump again, because we hadn't done that in a couple weeks. When I say jump, what I do is I have all of the numbers written up on the board, and we sing through it once, and then I underline or circle a few of the numbers, and then we sing through it again, and on those numbers that are underlined or circled, we jump on those numbers. And then we go through it again, and I'll circle a couple more, and by the end, usually they want them all circled, so they're just jumping the whole time we're singing. So that's what I had intended to do for math, but that's not what happened. Okay, so timeline's our last thing. So just like we did in our history sentence, we have Japan. So you're just kind of making that shape that Japan is. It's, you know, kind of almost a crescent island shape. So Japan's Heian period, again, this is to represent the feudal system that was happening during in the timeline, Heian period. Charlemagne, so we're going to take our crown, so you're just kind of make 2 C's, and we're going to take it and put it on our head. Crowned emperor, again, we're going to make our E, and it goes from shoulder to hip, if you're it. Alfred the Great, so we have an A for Alfred, and just like we've done for any other greats, he was so great. Alfred the Great of England, the sign for England is a flat left hand. You're going to bring your right hand around and kind of grab your hand and then shake it. Why this is a sign for England, I don't know, but that's what it is, okay? Eric the Red Leaf Erikson, so we're going to focus on the red part. So the sign for red is just touching your lip a couple times, it's because your lips are red. So Eric the Red and Leif Erikson. It just dawned on me this time that Erikson means Eric's son, that it's not just his last name. So, and the sign for that is actually kind of a baby sign because it was his son. So Eric the Red and Leif Erikson, Norse explorers, right? Then we have Vladimir the First. You're gonna shake it a little bit because this is a different sign if you don't shake it. So this means the first of Kiev. Again, K is like a peace sign, but you're touching your thumb to the middle part of your second finger of Kiev. Byzantine, this is our B, flat hand with the thumb across. Byzantine Emperor. Basil, again a B, the second, and you just shake it a little bit, okay? And then it says 1000 AD, so for that you'd go 1, and you take 3 fingers and you tap them on your palm, flat palm, and the 3 is the 3 zeros that follow the 1. That's how you know it's 1000. 1000 AD, 1000 AD. And then you have East-West Schism of the Church, because it was a splitting of the church. So East-West Schism of the Church. All right, that's all for New Grammar. I will show you what we did for, for Tin Whistle this week. So I made a page that looked like this. So it has our main new grammar words for Tin Whistle. We've got rhythm, bar line, measure, and staff. I'd already talked a little bit last week to the kids about a staff, but I had not talked to them about bar lines and measures. So I had them look at their paper and I asked them how many horizontal lines they found. Of course, they found 5, how many vertical lines, and I talked to them about the difference. And then I talked about what happens if we put a whole note here. A whole note takes up the whole measure. So if we have one whole note, we can't put any more notes in there. So we have to move to the next measure. And the next measure, if I put 2 half notes, 2 half notes makes 1 whole note. So, this measure is full. So then we move to this measure. Now we're gonna put 4 quarter notes in this measure. 1, 2, 3, 4 quarters makes 1 whole. Oh no, this measure is full. And then we filled this one with 1/8 notes. So we talked about that. And then I actually, I'll show you one of their papers. Up on the board, I drew out what I just said, a whole note, 2 halves, 4 quarters, and 1/8. And then I gave my kiddos, this is one of my kids' papers, I gave them stickers, and I had drawn the notes in here, and I said, okay, now I want you to use your stickers, and I want you to make your staff match mine. So on my board, I had drawn the 5 lines, and I had drawn the 3 bar lines, so it looked like this on the board, and they went along and filled in their stickers, and if you look closely, you can see they've drawn their lines on here to indicate the different type of notes. We also, went over the notes again, but we talked about how we called the 1/8 notes last week the superhero notes because they have capes on them and they're really fast. And we said sometimes superheroes will combine powers, and when they combine powers, they put a bar in between them. So that's what the difference there. And we also talked about when you get up high, your notes would be really high off the staff. So sometimes they will put the lines going down. So that was just a really fun, easy activity. And then we took our tin whistles. We practiced just playing with 1 finger because I have the little kids, they can barely get 1 hole covered. So we practiced with 1 hole. We did not try to play the actual note notes. We just played the note values for them with 1 finger. Is that C? I don't know what note that is. Anyway, whatever 1 finger down is. So we just tried to play that and do the rhythm of that. So that's my little what for this week for a tin whistle. So I hope you guys are having an awesome week. I hope that you have a good community day, and we'll be back next week with 11, and then one more week is 12, and then we'll be on break. Woohoo! All right, guys, see ya next time.